Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again on my channel. And I realise it's been a while since I've done an update on all my detox methods. And for those of you who are still following, I thought you might like an update. So I've just done flush number 71, and this is the first successful flush I've had for many months. Prior to that, I flushed in January of this year, 2021, and that was my fourth consecutive flush without any stones. And as many of you veteran flushers will know, no doubt know, if you do the more flushes you do without any stones coming out, the worse your symptoms get. And it really got to a stage where all the gains I'd made last year started to reverse, and I started to get really poorly again. It's probably worth noting that the main issues that I am dealing with are hypoadrenia and gut issues, Candida, that I've had since I was a child, and a lot of the kind of chronic illness that I had sort of in my 20s and 30s is a lot better now. So I have successfully overcome all sorts of things, gynecological issues, chronic fatigue, brain fog, small intestinal bowel overgrowth, Candida symptoms, electrical sensitivity, or electrical hypersensitivity, as some people call it, also environmental sensitivities. So I've really come a really long way. Also kind of, coughs, colds. There was a stage in my early 40s where I was getting a cold maybe every 2 weeks. So that was horrific. I would just be ill all the time, and that's kind of pretty much gone away now. I'm much stronger. In fact, my son came home at the start of, when all the kids went back and schools opened up again, and he came home with a cold, and I think that was the first time I can remember, for forever, when he caught a cold, and I didn't get it, and that was incredible. So I have made enormous progress. The hypoadrenia is still the main issue that I'm dealing with. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's just very low adrenal function, and I've had that my whole life. And I have to take hydrocortisone supplementation for that, because otherwise I just can't function normally. And unfortunately, that's still like a real stumbling block. I've been flushing for 4 years. I've done 71 flushes, and I still have hypoadrenia. So just to be completely transparent, I am the last person to just say that liver flushing is like waving a magic wand and all your symptoms will disappear. Yes, your symptoms will disappear slowly, or maybe more quickly than me, probably more quickly than me, because I think I've just built up kind of a lifetime worth of really bad health, and so I think for many people the journey will be easier and it'll take less time. But I have had to pause many times in my flushing journey because I have found it so difficult to get stones out. So I've absolutely overcome so many hurdles. I have a family now. I even have a dog. I live in the countryside. I go jogging. I can do exercise pretty much whenever I want. I don't really suffer from fatigue that much anymore. What else? I can eat much more freely than I used to be able to. I can eat carbohydrates now, whereas I was on a carbohydrate restricted diet for such a long time because I couldn't really tolerate eating anything. I don't really get brain fog anymore. I don't get thrush anymore. Just so many things that I just used to get that I just don't really suffer from anymore. So I have made enormous progress, but I am still got a long way to go. So that's kind of the background on my issues. So for those of you who followed my journey, you know that a big thing for me has been working out how to get through those horrible periods where you are flushing and nothing's coming out, and then you're going backwards, because when you flush and nothing comes out, it's not that nothing happens. You can go backwards because your gallbladder is pushing stones into the common bile duct, but they're not exiting. So you just get a build-up of more stones and sitting in the common bile duct. And if you do that enough times and nothing comes out, you can really get quite sick, because eventually you're not able to produce fresh bile to break down and emulsify your food, to so the liver can't work effectively to synthesize and deconjugate hormones, and it affects everything: your lymphatic system, your skin, your sleep. It puts you in a state of fight or flight because you're not digesting anything. And so for someone with hypoadrenia like me, it's a complete nightmare, because when you're not getting anything out, you're pushing your body further into fight or flight, and it just affects everything: your sleep, your hormones, your ability to withstand any kind of stress at all. So it got really bad. By January, February this year, I just had to stop. So what did I do? Cut to the chase. So I'm a big advocate in trying to do everything that you can to loosen those stones, to break up the congestion in your liver so that your next flush will be a success. So I just want to share some of the things that I did. So the first thing I started to do was to go jogging. I've talked in the past about the benefit of cardio exercise, or exercise that really deeply stimulates the breath and the lymphatic circulation, opens up the chest, gets the blood and the lymph pumping. And for me, that was hot yoga, which was amazing because it makes you sweat, so it opens up that pathway as well. But unfortunately, as everybody knows, with lockdown, those sorts of sort of facilities have not been available. So after Christmas, I took up jogging, and it was quite hilarious because I did jog completely like an old lady, like so slowly. I just was hoping that I wouldn't bump into anyone I knew who, because it just looked quite tragic. But I persisted, and I have now built up some tolerance. So since January, I've been jogging twice a week, and that's the first thing that I did to try and just open up my detox pathways a bit more. Cold water swimming was something I did last year. Haven't been able to face it so far this year because we live by the English Channel down in Kent, and it's just too cold. I can't face doing that until the weather gets a bit warmer. So that was the first thing that I've been doing. The other thing was I decided to try the Coca-Cola flush, because quite a few people had said that had helped them. So I did the Coke flush, which has been popularised by a few different people, including I think a chiropractor called Dr. Sutter. And you do the flush prep as normal, but you include orthophosphoric acid drops. I will post a link to that below so you can investigate. So I took that for 2 weeks prior. And I did the Coca-Cola flush, which is adding 2 to 4 ounces of Coca-Cola in the flush drink as well. And so that was good. I also bought some Swedish bitters online. It was the dried herbs, not the premix stuff, because I just think if you've got the dried herbs, you can make it up yourself, you can make it a bit stronger. So Swedish bitters, I felt that was quite helpful. So it's the jogging, the Swedish bitters, the orthophos drops. For a month before the flush, I also was taking lecithin, sunflower lecithin, and turpentine every morning on an empty stomach. Lecithin thins the bile, thins cholesterol, so that kind of takes the pressure off your liver and gets the liver ready to digest food. The turpentine is what's commonly known as a cholagogue, which means it's a bile thinner. So I was taking that every day, which is fine. I mean, it's not the most palatable thing, but honestly, I've taken so many disgusting things over the years that it's just the least of my worries. So what else? Just checking my little book. Oh yes, of course. My sauna bag. Yes, that's been very exciting. So about 3 months ago, I found a company called Smomar, spelled Smomar, a UK brand who do sauna bags. Some of you may have seen in the States, there's a company called Higher Dose, and Higher Dose do a popular sauna bag product. It's like a sleeping bag. You plug it in, it heats up to I think 80 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry this camera is wobbling around so much. I've got it on a stand, but it's not really keeping very still. Yes, so Higher Dose do it in the States, and that's quite a popular brand with kind of influencers and wellness experts. And over here, there's a company called Smomar who got really good reviews and customer feedback and seemed quite a trustworthy brand, so I decided to go with them. It wasn't cheap, it's £400, but it basically replicates as much as it can do the experience of being in a sauna. Obviously your head is not inside it, it's like a sleeping bag, so you put your body and your limbs inside it, and you use that to stimulate a sweat, and again you're speeding up your heart rate, you're speeding up your lymphatic circulation, you're thinning the lymph, and you're using that to take pressure off the liver in terms of opening up those channels of detoxification. So I felt that in combination with the jogging, the sauna, regular sauna bag sessions, which I was doing every day, were really helpful. And the last thing I was doing was a foot bath, which I bought for my son about 2 months ago, and that's by a company called Ion Cleanse. It's called the Ion Cleanse Solo, and it's an ionic foot bath. I would say do your research if you look into the whole foot bath phenomenon. There's a lot of scammers out there. This one seems to be the real deal. It's reflected in a very big price, but I managed to get one second hand, and it stimulates it uses a current to basically you run it through your feet, and it stimulates again the lymphatic circulation, and it puts your body into a parasympathetic rather than sympathetic mode, so that it can start to kind of relax, and therefore kind of let go of toxicity. How far you believe in such things is up to you, but I can tell you that after I used it once or twice, and the nights that I used it, I slept really, really badly, woke up frequently, and felt like my hands and my feet were tingling, and I get a very strong tingling sensation every time I use it. And apparently it's very common for people with Lyme disease to experience that kind of sensation. I don't think I have Lyme disease. God knows it's one of the kind of invisible chronic illnesses I don't have. But yes, so and I also felt slightly nauseated. So I felt that it was doing something. And I know that it's done something for my son, because he has had some amazing kind of breakthroughs with his behaviour whilst using this Ion Cleanse foot bath. And he's also seems to be getting the moons back on his fingernails, which I'll leave you to kind of go away and read up what that might mean. But the jury's out on what, you know, on what it means. But it's an interesting phenomenon that if you notice, perhaps, you know, 30 or 40 years ago, if you watch films from that era, you'll see that everybody has little moons on their fingernails. And these days you look at people's hands and they don't have those moons, and they have, not only do they not have any moons on their fingers, but they have quite deep ridges on their fingernails as well. And there's some suggestion that the moons coming back to people's fingernails, if that happens during detox or nutritional balancing, it's a sign of just better kind of energetic circulation, better thyroid performance. So again, whether you kind of invest in that theory or not is up to you, but I'm always open to these ideas. So anyway, I've noticed that my 8-year-old son, who's never had moons on his fingers, is now the moons on it are starting to come back. So long story short, the Ion Cleanse I don't think is absolutely kind of, you know, it's not a deal breaker, but if you're desperate to get things moving, then it might be a useful thing to look into. So just to wrap up, flush number 71, after doing all those things for several weeks, if not months, I did my 71st flush on Saturday, and it was very, very positive. I did, however, feel extremely sick, which I felt sick before on many flushes, but I did feel extremely sick, and that was the first time I actually was sick. So it's not easy doing the liver flush. I've come across people in the past who kind of poo-poo it and say, well, you know, if it was that easy to, you know, detox your liver, everyone would be doing it. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to do 71 flushes. You know, if you're really committed to changing your health from chronic disease, it is the answer. For me, it's the only answer, obviously in combination with other things, but it is the most powerful detox protocol. I don't think you can do detox without liver flushing. I just don't see that it's possible, because we carry so much crap in our livers. You know, viruses, pathogens, bacteria, fat, it's all there. And it's an absolute no-brainer for me that I will carry on doing it. So that's my message, is if you really want to recover from chronic illness, liver flushing has to be a part of it, and you have to commit to doing it every few weeks, or every month, month in, month out, for years, possibly. It might only take you a couple of years. For me, it's been 4 years and I'm still going, but I would not be without it. And I haven't looked back. I've come so far, and I will update you again soon. So sorry, that was a longer video than I intended it to be. Hope everyone is well, and just keeping their head above water and getting through this pandemic in whichever way they can. Stay safe, and good luck and happy flushing. Bye for now.